Welcome to the webinar. We're here to talk about online presence for independent insurance agents. Before we get in, we'll share just a little bit about me. I'm Megan Hardy. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing here at Levitate. And if you want to read this whole blurb, it basically says that I love data and I love dogs. So that's me in a nutshell. Now on to why you're here. We are here to talk about online presence. Not everyone really knows what that entails, so I do have some basics on why this matters, some of the numbers and stats behind it. We're a very data-driven company here, and we really like to go off of data, not feelings or opinions. We have some data to prove why this is valuable, and this isn't just me trying to sell you something. We will dive into SEO, website and blog best practices, social media, Google reviews, a very quick overview of Levitate. I promise it's not a heavy sales pitch, just a little peek into what we can do and how we can make your life easier. Into the data. Why does this matter? Why are we even talking about online presence? 75% of consumers make a judgment about a company based on its website. So if your website is not up to standards, if it is not visually appealing, but also informative and easy to find the information that they need, you could be losing out. Next, 81% of consumers check Google reviews to evaluate a local business. So if you don't have Google reviews or you have bad Google reviews, again, you are going to miss out on a lot of potential business. You can even lose current clients because they might see that you don't have a great reputation there and go, oh, I don't really know if I want to work with someone that doesn't have a great reputation. So making sure you have a robust Google presence is very important. Next, social media. The average person spends 145 minutes per day on social. I don't know how we have time to do other things. That's like 2.5 hours a day. But what this really means and why this is important for businesses is it means people are there. So if people are there, then your business needs to be there as well. And finally, companies with blogs on their website produce an average of 67% more leads monthly than those who don't. Again, these blogs are not just for fun. They're not just for us to try to sell you on something, right? They are very important to your SEO, your search engine optimization, and your business being found easily. Let's get into a little bit more about SEO. Like I said, search engine optimization. There's really two different types. The first type is probably what you think of when you hear the word SEO. It is organic SEO. This is the one you are not paying for. This is no cost to your business. This is when someone Googles insurance agent near me and your business comes up. That's organic. You're not paying for that. That is Google deciding you are relevant for that search. It looks at your reviews. It actually even looks at social media posts. It looks at your website heavily for keywords. It looks at other websites to see if you have a presence anywhere else. So it's really sourcing from a lot of different places to say, okay, this is a credible business that I should bump up higher. The second type is paid SEO, what you may have heard as pay-per-click. With this, you're actually paying for ads. So when someone searches insurance agent near me, your ad is coming up as the top listing under sponsored. It looks similar to a regular result, so people might not always realize it's an ad and they might click yours first. So this can be a really good tool for businesses. We do have clients that use this and have some success. I will say that overall, it is expensive, and especially in insurance, it can be very competitive. So we have customers that we find keep having to increase their budget because of how much other people are paying and bidding against them. So those are the basics of understanding what SEO means and the different types. Some tips for mastering SEO, and this is really just base level for people that maybe haven't done a lot yet, just to really get you started and have a nice strong base within your SEO. Number one is content is king. You really need to have good content on your website, which is not only keywords or blogs. It is everything from the quality of what's on there, the structure of your website, having a good sitemap, different slug URLs, which I have an example here to the right, services/homeowners insurance. SEO and Google are looking at all of that to decide if you are a credible business. With that, you also want to cast a wide net, meaning list your business as many places as you can, because Google sees that as a sign of authority and strength, that you're not just in one place with your own website, that other places are mentioning you. And so that goes into the next point of links. Backlinks are where someone is referencing your website on their website. Something that we find a lot of our customers like to do is have other business contacts. Maybe there's a lawyer that you work with frequently as part of your job. You can ask them to link to your website on their website and vice versa. And then you're both helping each other get those backlinks, cast that wider net. It's just an easy way to try to build up some authority for your website. Elements of a strong website. I already hit on the importance of having a good structure, but one of the biggest things you need to consider is it's mobile friendly. Most people are coming from mobile devices now. And so if they go on your website and it either doesn't look good on mobile, or they can't find the information that they're looking for, or things are distorted, you're going to lose out on people. So making sure when you get a website created that it is mobile friendly is extremely important. Next, it has landing pages for each of your services. So this means if you offer umbrella, life, all the different that you might offer, you're able to have a landing page for that. And that serves two purposes. One, it helps people easily understand what you offer as an insurance agent, so it makes their lives easier. And two, Google is going to look at that and think they have all these different services. I should make sure they show up for umbrella or commercial, whatever your different lines may be. So this helps not only the SEO and the searchability, but it also is helping people know what you do and make it very simple for them to know how you can. Next, it features concise, quality content. You really want easy to read, informative copy there, not too much. And what I mean by that is don't try to stuff 1,000 keywords in there, because Google is onto that trick and they will actually ding you for that. They will not reward you for having the same keyword written 10,000 times on a page. You really want it to be readable. That's what Google is looking for now, is readable, because they're thinking of the user experience. So just making sure that you have good copy. It's very easy for people to read, understand. Blogs are a really great place for this. And finally, this is something a lot of businesses miss, but is extremely valuable. Showcase social proof. Whether that's putting recent Google reviews, maybe you get reviews other places like Yelp, depending on your business. Put that on your homepage. Show other people what customers are saying, because you can say all day that you're the best agent in town, but when it comes from other people, it holds a lot more weight than you saying it yourself. So with blogging, going into the SEO and website, there's really three main pillars to keep in mind with blogging. Number one is frequency. It's hard to think of a schedule for blogs. It sounds kind of intimidating. You're like, how much time is this going to take? How often do I need to do this? We really tell our customers any blog content is better than no blog content. Making sure you have one a month would be a great place to start. Ideally, you would have more than that as time and resources allow. However, just having one a month is something, right? It's a place to start. It's a place for people to see your expertise, and it's a place for Google to see you have an active presence and are sharing knowledge. I would say if you have more resources, once a week would be even better, just to try to really up the SEO and the value to prospective customers. But again, just try to get one a month and you'll at least have a head start. Next pillar is variety. While it can be tempting to just try to sell and post about services all the time, you also want to look at really engaging topics, or think about topics that people want to know about. It's not, hey, I do all these things and I'm great at it. You certainly can put those up. There's no harm in having some that just share more about your business and your services. But the more diverse your blogs are, the more likely you're to be discovered in searches. And I will say my number one tip for blogs in terms of what you need to write, think about the questions you get asked the most by customers, new customers, whatever it may be. Those are blog gold mines, because if you're getting asked that frequently, people are Googling that. So start there. Start with the things you answer daily and make them into blogs. And that's going to be a really strong way to increase your SEO and share your expertise. And then finally, you're doing all this work creating blogs. Make sure you're promoting it. Don't only put it on the website and leave it there. Yes, that's going to help your SEO, which is great, but you put the time into the blog, do more with it, right? You can put it on social. You can link to it in an email. You can put it on your personal social pages if you have that, especially LinkedIn's a great place for that. Just make sure you're getting it out there. You can even post it on social media more than once. Just because you posted it one time doesn't mean in a month or two, if it's still a relevant topic, create another post, have a different image, have a different caption, but go to the same blog content. You can reuse things as long as they're still relevant. It could even be a year later and you could potentially still use it if it's still relevant. So don't go crazy reinventing the wheel all the time, and you can reuse some of this content you're making, really make the most out. Here I have a few examples of blog content ideas for you. Everything from informative to more timely or seasonal. Things like, what's the difference between term and whole life insurance? People Google that all the time. I myself Googled that not long ago. These kinds of informative posts that are very general that a lot of people are looking for are a good place to start. And then seasonal things or more timely things can be really helpful. 4th of July is coming up. Do you need travel insurance for your weekend getaway? Do I need to insure my jet ski? Whatever that may be. These can also help because as the seasons come, people are going to naturally start searching this more, and then you're going to be able to come up a little bit more. And what's nice is like the ones that are more on the left that are a little more evergreen, as I always call them, these are the ones that you could repost again and again, maybe in 6 months. Put up the difference between term and whole life insurance again. So these are just some thought starters to get you going. But I would say really think about the questions you get asked the most, and that's where you should start with your blog posts. Social media. This is the number one question we get asked. How often do you need to post on social? Because social is not a small undertaking to do it well, especially for small businesses. You typically don't have resources dedicated to it. So similar to blogs, we feel that a small presence is better than no presence. So at least getting one post a week up in the beginning would be huge. Once you've mastered the basics, you have a little more time, 2 to 3 times a week would be ideal. And that's across channels. So maybe you're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can post the same thing across those channels. You do not have to create a new post for each one if you don't have the resources. So you can just reuse the same content, which is fine. Tons of people do it, especially small businesses. Just keep in mind that you really just want to get something up there. Because the problem is if someone is interested in you and they go to your social media and see that there's really nothing there, it might be a negative for them. Like, oh, they don't even have a social presence. That's important to them. So just something to at least have a presence there, show you're active. And again, this also is going to help your SEO as well. What to post? Second most asked question about social. People are on social media for 2 reasons, typically. To learn something new or to be entertained. And I think as business owners, we often think, well, I can't entertain people. Like I'm not, doing memes and GIFs. But you can. You can. Within reason, right? Let's not get crazy. Let's maybe not do like TikTok dances or something. However, there is opportunity to loosen up a little bit, have a little personality, show the humanness behind your business, because that's really what social is about. So with that in mind, we really recommend a mix of things like informative content, statistics, showing your expertise. And then also the human element, maybe some employee spotlights, maybe just fun holiday greetings. We do have customers that post memes. It can go with your brand as long as that's okay for your exact brand. But again, it's social media. It doesn't always have to be quite as buttoned up as some other platforms are. Here are some ideas for informative social posts. Like, again, these are the more evergreen or, statistic driven, just trying to share some of your expertise. Try to do it in still a more interesting way. Since it's social media, you don't just want to be telling people things or talking at people all the time. Things like insurance lingo decoded. Sometimes people really don't understand all the terms used, so you can post a term and then give a simple, friendly definition for them. Myth or fact, this one's really popular with our clients. These posts do really well for them. So a myth probably a lot of people have heard is that red cars cost more to insure. So you could have a myth like that and then have the answer. And again, so it's a more fun way to show some of your expertise and your credibility and make it in a more social friendly way. And engaging. So this is more, you're really not trying to push services as much. These are really more about what's happening in their lives, and you're trying to connect with that. Grad season is upon us. You can have something about congrats grads. You can work in knowing what renter's insurance is, just to tie it back to your brand, something of that nature. But sometimes just the congratulations grads, it shows that humanness to your brand, that you're not only trying to sell to people, that you actually care about them as humans, because you do. That's the great part of insurance agents. They truly care about their customers. It really isn't just about money. So show that in social. Have things that aren't always tied to trying to get more money. All right. And now I have a few best practices. These are super important, and I think they're pretty easy to implement, but we find you get a lot better results just by using these. So number one, lead with an eye-catching hook. What that means is you have 2 seconds to capture someone's attention on social media. You want them to stop their thumb. We want to get people to stop. So having a hook like, are you one of 68% of Americans without life insurance? Have a college-aged kid? This is for you. Just anything to get their attention in that 2 seconds. This is a really good way to use statistics, rhetorical questions, quotes, just anything to try to suck them in. Because again, you only have 2 seconds, so you've got to make it good. There's a lot of content out there you're competing with. Next, I hit on this some, but show personality. That really makes the difference when you can loosen up, highlight your employees, put some humor in there. Again, you can use memes, you can use GIFs. You don't always have to just have a super buttoned up presence. You can show the authenticity behind everyone. And then this one is something a lot of people miss, mainly because it can feel a little awkward, but using a clear call to action. Ask someone to do what you want them to do. You'd be so surprised how many people will do it just because you ask. So what's your family's favorite holiday tradition? Leave a note in the comments. Do you agree? Leave a like. Share this with someone who could learn from this. Just putting that in their head often can make them more willing to do that thing you're asking for. And then you're getting more engagement, which means Meta or Instagram, whatever you're using, are going to go, oh, people like this post. I'm going to start serving it to a broader amount of people. And then you're getting more eyeballs on it, so on and so forth. So really just sprinkling in these calls to action can be super valuable for your social media and your engagement. All right. Google reviews. I know this is a hot topic. Lots of people are interested in this. It's a very, very big one in insurance, super competitive as well. So I have some best practices here. Number one, and you're going to say, Megan, of course I made sure it's up to date, but you would be surprised how many people are like, oh yeah, I just updated it. And they realize it was actually 2 years ago, because time is flying. So make sure it's just up to date. You've claimed it. You have current information, especially contact information, because if someone goes to call you and that number is not working anymore, you're done. They're not going to hunt you down. They're not going to go find other numbers for you, right? So just making sure that everything is up to date. I would say even set a calendar reminder for like once a quarter, just to pop up and go, let me just make sure, nothing big has changed. Maybe there's a new photo you want to add. Maybe you're offering a new line of insurance. Whatever it may be, just make sure that it's reflected on your profile. You also just want to take stock of where you currently are. See how many reviews you have, see what your star rating is. That way you can capture where you started. And as you continue to implement and do new things, you can track the success of these efforts that you're doing and see maybe ones that are adding more reviews, which ones maybe aren't working as well. So always make sure you're kind of documenting where you are when you start, so that way you can see what's working and what's not in the future. Next is timing is everything. While you want to have a large amount of reviews, we would say quantity is great, but quality is what's really most important, because you can have 200 reviews, but if 100 of them are 3 stars or 2 stars, it's not the best. I'd rather you have 100 that are 5 stars, right? That's a much stronger presence. So just remember to ask at appropriate times. And I do have some tips for that in an upcoming slide, but just making sure that you're really hitting people when you're top of mind, when you've recently worked with them, to try to maximize getting those quality 5-star reviews. And then finally, respond to all of your reviews that you get. Good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. You need to be responding. And I do have do's and don'ts for that, because it can be a little tricky. And I know that sometimes we need help knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it. So when responding, do respond within 48 hours. It just shows that you're active, that you care about your business, that you care about making things right. Especially if it's a negative review, you want to make sure that you're not ignoring it, because that doesn't look good. And it also looks like you don't care that someone had a bad experience. So really try to respond within 48 hours. Next, you want to personalize each response. This is as simple as just putting their name somewhere in the first sentence, either at the beginning, the end, just something to show you are paying attention to who they are. You're not putting a canned response in there, that you're really taking the time to address that individual review. This third one is probably the most important tip: empathize. Always empathize with them in their review, especially if it's negative. What I mean with this is you don't have to necessarily admit fault, right? Like, we don't want to always admit fault if something is said in an unfair way or it's not totally accurate to what happened, but you still want to say something like, I'm so sorry to hear this, or I'm sorry you're frustrated. I'd like to make this right. Just that little bit can help diffuse a situation so much, because most of the time when people are posting negative things, they just want to feel heard. They don't even necessarily expect some kind of big resolution. They just want to feel heard. So by empathizing with them, you're showing them, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, I want to make this right. This also helps because prospective customers can see, oh, okay, the business owner responded in a nice way. They looked like they were willing to work with them. That's a positive. That's someone I want to work with, where if there is an issue, I know that they're going to be attentive and they're going to be empathetic and they're not going to get defensive in the public comments. Next is, it seems like a weird one, but just ensure no personal information is posted. People love to overshare on the internet for some reason. So if they're putting their phone number, their email, their address, their social security number, whatever they feel like sharing in your review, please get it taken down, because we don't want their information blasted all over the internet. And I know this one seems odd, but it happens a lot more than you would think. So just always make sure that people aren't putting personal information in their reviews. For the don'ts, this goes back to the empathize with the negative reviews. Don't get defensive. It's just not a good look, right? Again, we're not even just talking about how that one person who left a review is going to perceive you. It's everyone else looking at those reviews. Remember, 81% of people look at reviews before working with the business. They're going to see that you got defensive, and they're going to feel like, I feel like if I have a problem, this person is just going to be rude to me. And it's hard. I get it. It's your business. It's your baby. You put so much work into it. So it can be very hard when someone says something negative, especially when it feels unfair or they're not sharing it in an appropriate way. That's why step 2 in here, don't respond immediately to negative reviews. You still want to go in that 48-hour window. But what this means is when one comes in, don't just shoot off your response, because you're more likely to be emotional and you're more likely to be defensive. Go take lunch, go have a coffee, go talk to somebody, pet a dog, whatever you need to do, just to reset a little bit. And then it's easier to come from a place of empathy and trying to solve it. You also don't want to get into a back and forth with people online. So if you do have a negative review, that's where you can say, hey, Scott, I'm sorry to hear that you're frustrated. I really want to make this right. Please give me a call at XYZ or email me at XYZ. Take it offline, because the last thing you want to do is get into this like, well, you said this. Well, this is what happened. Well, you said that. You don't want that public. And the nice part about this is we find that most of the time, people don't even bother reaching out to you again. It's kind of done. They just wanted to be heard, remember? It shows that you cared. It shows you wanted to make it right. And then you probably don't have to do anything else. And it really looks good for prospective clients to see, oh, all right, they really wanted to help this person. So really great tip there. And then it's a simple one, but don't let inaccurate or spam reviews stay on your page. You can report reviews if they are someone who's claiming that they did business with you and had a bad experience, but you actually have no record of ever working with them. Sometimes they're spam. Sometimes people think you're a different business. You can report them and get them removed. I will say, Google can be a little sticky with that. They don't always remove things. So if something does stay up that is not accurate, then you can go ahead and leave a response that says something to the effect of, hi, Bob. Thanks for leaving us a review. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any record of doing business with you, but if that's mistaken, please give us a call. So again, you're acknowledging it, but that's showing other people that like this review is not really legit, so you all can ignore it. All right, I know this is a lot of info. How do you get more reviews? This is a question we get asked this end too. They want more reviews. What do I have to do to get them? So I think there's a dual approach here. The first is on a quarterly or semi-annual basis, send a survey or an email request. So you can have it on your calendar. This is a really good way to get a larger chunk of reviews at once. So you can make sure you're having the volume you want, but in a way that you're still going to get good reviews, because especially if you use surveys, especially within Levitate, I'll show you, you can kind of make sure that only the top people get to leave a review. But really just asking people, you'd be surprised. We find hardly anyone answers negatively to these requests for surveys or through email. So that way you can get a little bit larger volume. And then the second approach is kind of a drip method. So throughout the year, there's all these different touch points that you naturally have. So use those to your advantage. Number one, review, call to action in your email signature. Simple, it can just live there. People might see it and use it. Having signage in the office is a really easy way to do it. Asking for a review a week or two after a meeting, after you finished a renewal, after you added a new policy for them. Again, you're fresh in their mind. They had a good experience. They're more likely to want to take the time to leave you a nice review because they appreciate what you've done. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones, is especially with certain tools like Levitate, you can actually set this to automate. So a week after you renew a policy, they'll automatically get a request asking them to leave a review. Creating social posts. This is another thing you can do on social. Showcase a nice review and then ask people to leave you a review. Again, when you ask people, a lot of them will do it. And then there's also this last one that's a little controversial. You can run a raffle asking anyone who leaves a review, they'll be entered in to win something. The reason it's controversial is technically it goes against Google's guidelines. You are not supposed to incentivize reviews. However, we find that as long as you're not trying to influence what they're saying or the star rating that they're leaving you, then that means Google's okay with it. So what you can't do is say, leave us a 5-star review and be entered to win. That would not fly. That's not really ethical. But you could just say, anyone who leaves a review, you don't influence what they're saying. You're not telling them how many stars they need to give you. They could give you a terrible review and they technically would be in the raffle. We find that people don't do that. It's typically your customers that already like you, so you get 5-star reviews. However, it is a good way to try to get more throughout the year. All right, so we went through SEO, websites, blogs, social, Google. It's a lot. The good news is Levitate is here to help. And this is super quick. I promise I'm not doing some big sales heavy thing here. At a glance, I'm not going to go through this, but we're awesome. And it's not just me saying it. There's awards here, but we have a lot of happy customers. Feel free to read our reviews. You can hear from other people besides me. This is everything that Levitate does, most of what we do. We email, social, texting, but I'm really going to focus on showing you a few ways that Levitate really helps with everything I just covered with your online presence. The number one best feature, though, is our people. Again, that's not me saying that. That's our customers saying that. You have someone that helps you every step of the way in Levitate. We do not set you up with Levitate and then say, have fun, do whatever. Good luck sending emails. You have people helping you. You have a dedicated success specialist that you meet with often, like quarterly. They help you plan, they help you schedule, they know your business. So you're really getting a marketing person and a marketing tool within Levitate. So that's really where I think Levitate differentiates itself from a lot of tools, is we are not just sending you off into the abyss with our software. Back to online presence, we do websites. Everything I talked about in terms of being structured well, showcasing reviews front and center, mobile friendly, we do all of that. You can see here, we can put your Google ratings right on. This is usually towards the bottom of the homepage, but we can do any of that. We can do meeting booking in here, everything you'd want in a website. Content is really where we stand out. So all that blog content we were talking about, informative, evergreen, and all these things, it can be a lot. It's a little overwhelming. We have a library of ready to go content just for independent insurance agents. We have all of that ready to go, and you can just click it and schedule it. If you want to rewrite it, there's built-in AI that can help you adjust it. Maybe you want it to be a different tone of voice. Maybe you want it to focus a little bit more on commercial. Whatever it may be, you can alter it that way, or you can just take something from our library and schedule it. Same for social media. You can schedule to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn straight through Levitate. There is a library that is already ready, including pictures that are royalty free, so you do not have to sit there and find a caption, Know what you want to talk about. Find a royalty-free image. Go to each platform and schedule it. Nope, it's done. You can do it 3 months in advance or more. And again, this is where your success specialist can really help you plan out and say, oh, we just got this new post and I think it's actually perfect for your business goals. And they can help get it scheduled. So it just makes social media so much more streamlined and a lot simpler. Google reviews. So we have a few different ways we can help here. One is we have a survey feature where anytime someone leaves a 4 or 5 star review, it will automatically prompt them to then leave a Google review. So you send this, it's kind of like a regular, how did we do kind of thing, rate us, 1 through 5. And if they click 4 or 5, it'll be like, thank you so much. Would you be so kind as to leave a Google review for us? They can actually just copy what they already wrote, if they wrote something, and post it right there. Makes it super simple. And this is how a lot of our clients get an increase in their reviews. We also have email templates that just ask for reviews. So that's where I was talking about having an automation set up where you can say, okay, after a policy renews, 10 days later, send them this email saying, hey, I hope you had a good experience. If so, could you leave us a review? If not, please write back and let me know why. We want to make things better, whatever it may be. So these are really good ways to ensure you're getting good reviews frequently. Levitate also connects to your Google business profile, so you can see all of them in there. You can respond to them directly through Levitate. My favorite new feature that I personally use for Levitate is you actually can respond via AI. So when someone submits a new review, you will get an email from Levitate. So you don't even have to be logged into Levitate to do this. It will share the review and it will give you an AI suggested reply. You can hit post and post it right there. Or you can say, I want to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to go in and write my own. You can use AI to rewrite it. You can write what you want and still post it through there. I'm telling you, this is such a great feature. I was blown away. I was a little skeptical because I think I'm a little picky about how people respond to reviews. And honestly, I was humbled when I used this because it was writing better responses than I was. It was really nice. And I use this for Levitate and it is awesome. It's the way we train our GPTs here is above and beyond. We are not just using basic chat GPT. We have very advanced GPTs that know exactly what to say for your business. All right, and then just a really quick case study. This is one of our wonderful customers, Susquehanna Insurance. They sent 2 different review request emails in 2 years. First time they had a 186% increase in their 5-star reviews. The second time they had a 94% increase. And all of that netted them 470% more organic traffic. Again, that was from 2 email sends. That's just one piece. So just a little social proof that what I'm saying is not just me thinking Levitate's amazing. We have the proof. We have plenty more case studies if you're interested, but we can really help you with your online presence. Really appreciate everybody joining. Thank you so much. Have a great day.